and I just thought I would film to show you how I do that. It's an all buttercream cake, and the cakes have been sitting in the refrigerator overnight. They were iced yesterday, so the icing is hard and is ready for me to stack. So stay tuned and I will show you how I do that. So to start, I have my turntable. I actually got this on, I think, eBay. It was probably about 15 years ago when I first started, and it's my favorite thing ever. Some lady made it. It's got holes in here for me doweling cakes, but I still love it. So I can try to find it and try to link it below, but I don't know. I always keep a piece of non-skid pad. It's like shelf liner that I put my cakes on top of. That way it prevents the cake from sliding around on the board. I use bubble tea straws instead of plastic dowels for supports on the inside of my cake. I can leave a link to where you can purchase those. A pair of scissors, a sewing needle that you can adjust the height, and a Sharpie marker. And also I have a wooden dowel. This is one that I got at Lowe's. It's really, really super long. And I have a pencil sharpener that I use only for my dowels that I sharpen this with. And also I have a pair of snips so I can cut the dowel, and a hammer. So let's get started. Okay, so I get the first cake out of the fridge. All of my cakes have a front and a back to them. I kind of look and see what looks the best, and I always make that the front. So this looks the most symmetrical to me. So this is just the part that I've made the front of my cake. The other, as I turn it, it's not like as perfect round as it is from this one spot that I like. So that just becomes the front of my cake. So what I do is take this sewing ruler, and you try to like come down eye level and find the highest spot on the cake. This is an 8-inch round. I'm putting a 6-inch round on top of it. So you can't measure too close, because the 6-inch round is only going to come to about here. So the highest spot within there, I'm going to put this down, and then take this little pink part and press it down so I get to the top of the cake. So this is the length that I have to cut all the straws. I'm going to rinse this off. Keeping that pink piece where it is. Now, I'm going to do 6 straws in this bottom tier. So I take the Sharpie, and I line up the straw, and I mark where it ends with the Sharpie marker. It's not very good video, sorry. So it ends right here. So I'm going to take the Sharpie marker and just make a little mark on the straw where I'm going to cut that Sharpie piece off. So there's not going to be any Sharpie in the cake. That's where I'm going to cut the straw. So I just do that 5 more times. And I did learn this method from the amazing Sharon Z over at Sugar Ed Productions. I've learned so much from her. I've been doing it this way for years. So I can't take credit for it. Okay, so put that aside. And now I'm going to cut right underneath the marker for all 6 pieces. And then take the straws and put them into the cake. I did just wash my hands before I started this. Pressing all the way down. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the other tier. So here's the next tier that's going on top. I put on gloves because I'm going to be handling the side of the cake. So, when I fill my cakes, I tape a cardboard circle to this bigger circle. So I have to get this off of that circle. So what I do, this may be a little weird, but this is what I do. So this is solid right out of the fridge, so I'm not going to mess up the icing. I bend down the cardboard and lift off. And now I can take the tape that was holding it, securing it, and pull the tape off. So set this aside. And now I go back to the front of my cake, which was where? Front looks good here. I'm just going to mark a little arrow marking the front so I can tell from the top. Whoops. So I'm going to put this on top. Now, I want to make sure that it's the same distance all the way around. So I'm spinning the cake around and maneuvering the tier until it's in the right position that I see. Just turned it to adjust it so the front of this matches the front of this. Now, I'm a little OCD when it comes to making sure things look as perfect as I can. It's a good and a bad thing at times. So, I like the way that looks. Now we're going to repeat the process again. So I'm going to grab this ruler, get down, and try to find the highest part. That's going to be a 4-inch tier that goes on top of the 6-inch tier, so making sure I'm in at least an inch from the edge. Push the pink piece down, pull it out, and this is where I'm going to measure. I have 4 more straws. I find that I put more straws in the bigger tiers, less straws in the smaller tiers. A lot of people do whatever tier. Like this is an 8-inch tier, people will put 8 straws in it. This is a 6-inch tier, people will put 6 straws. I usually do 6 straws for 8-inch, 4 straws for 6-inch. You just have to find what works for you. But you want to have enough straws in there to support the weight of the cake. So if you're going to be putting a lot of weight on the top of here, you're going to want more straws. Do the same thing again, just cutting right underneath that Sharpie mark. And then putting these straws in the cake. And I'm going to go grab the top tier. Now I have the top tier. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to hold the top and push down to get it off of to get it off of the cardboard underneath. Pull off the tape and set that aside. Now, this circle, this cardboard circle is really important that you have to have on here because that's the circle that cardboard sits on these straws. If you don't have a piece of cardboard here, the cake is just going to sit on the straws and there's nothing to support it. So I put this on top. This is the front. Do the same thing. Make sure it's the same distance around. And that looks pretty good. And so this is the cake stacked. Now what I do is I take this huge dowel and my snips. I already sharpened it. So this is going to go all the way down into the board. So I just put it on the board. I eyeball, this has to be underneath the top tier. So somewhere down here, I just come forward and I cut it. So now I have a piece of a dowel that I always use so I can countersink this down into the cake. So, putting this into the center, pushing down until it stops on that first cardboard, and we're going to hammer this all the way into the cake board at the bottom. I've hit my finger many times doing this. It's the worst. And then when you get here, I take the smaller dowel, just put it on top so you can countersink it. You'll hear it go into the board. So now I have a hole in the top of this cake from hammering that in, so I take some of that buttercream and I'm just going to spackle the hole shut. I just run a little bit of hot water on my spatula so I can smooth that out. I've done this with fondant cakes. If you do it with fondant, it's kind of hard to patch the hole shut unless you have buttercream that matches, or if you do a little circle of fondant to hide it. A lot of times the topper will hide that anyway. And there is your stacked cake ready for decoration. So here's your cake. It's all ready to be decorated. It's stacked and sturdy, and it's not going to fall apart unless you drive like an idiot and get into an accident. And why am I saying that? So here's your cake. It's all stacked and ready to be decorated. I'm going to put this down because it's really heavy. Oh my gosh. Jeez. So if you have any questions, leave them below and I will answer them as soon as I can. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm on Facebook and my website and all that other stuff. And if you want to see more videos like this, just hit the subscribe button and I will see you on the next one.